So in the wake of the Uvalde massacre in Texas, a lot of people are wondering how we rein in the gun lobby, how we rein in gun manufacturers, including our own president, who is wondering that exact same thing somehow, as if he didn't have a pretty big role to play in all of this. And it turns out, thanks to some new reporting from Indies Times, that actually the federal government does have a very large role to play, even if Congress is currently on recess and doesn't have any gun control legislation in the works. So it has to do with the makers of that AR-15 that the 18-year-old used on those 22 people at Uvalde, Robb Elementary. Daniel Defense is the name of the company. It turns out they've been raking in government cash. That's right. So let's look at the details here. Daniel Defense, if you don't know, they make assault rifles, including those used by civilians, for hunting. The company calls itself, quote, one of the most recognizable brands in the firearms world, consisting of the world's finest AR-style rifles, pistols, bolt-action rifles, and accessories for civilian law enforcement and military customers. So if you had any doubts, top-notch AR-15s, you guys. This is amazing stuff, the stuff of mass shootings. And it turns out that Daniel Defense has actually been subsidized by the US federal government. Daniel Defense has received more than 100 federal contracts and even a few loans. A search through the government spending tracker shows. This is graphic too. As the New York Times noted May 26, this includes a pandemic era Paycheck Protection Program loan of 3.1 million, oh yeah. And the contracts date back to at least 2008 when the government spending tracker was created, and most were made with the Department of Defense, but also others with the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and the Interior. And I know you might be thinking, oh, well, that was before, that was under Trump, that was under Obama, that was under Bush. Like, no, like what are we doing to support Daniel Defense now? Earlier this year, that company struck a contract up for $9.1 million with the Pentagon. The deal was announced March 23rd. Fun timing, for the production of 11.5 and 14.5 inch cold hammer forged barrels for the Upper Receiver Group Improved. The product refers to barrels that are used for rifles. So there is a link there. This is not just about kicking it to Congress. This is about actual contracts that are in place now that I don't know these could be rescinded. March 23rd was not that long ago. Imagine if that was coming down the pike now. You wonder if the Biden administration would have stopped it.
Yeah, and at the same time, I wonder how much, government largesse has to do with this, right? But of course, those threats can get them the gun lobby to sort of stand down, which I think is kind of the point here. Whenever there's any risk that legislation that would regulate access to guns, i.e. shrink their business, even if it's in what we would consider by an insignificant amount, these people fight it tooth and nail. I'm also always interested in the part where, companies can get all of this money from government, and somehow they don't melt and turn into mush and self-implode like conservatives would have you believe, right? Like when it comes to the government giving people money, or even libertarians like Elon Musk would have you believe about how terrible the government is. Tesla's gotten so much money in government subsidies, which again is just free government money. I'm just always just blown away by how many dyed in the wool conservatives and libertarians just love government cash, but somehow for civilians and normal everyday people, it would make them the worst, laziest, shiftless people alive. It's just funny how that works.
So I have like a particular thing that's been bothering me for years now. Obviously the pandemic, but it is the amount of money that we now know that was stolen from that initial the initial infusion of cash, whatever Trump passed in the initial days. The only thing he did right, that created things like the paycheck protection programs. And the number of far-right organizations, it's more on the nose than even what you're saying. It's more on the nose than a weapons manufacturer applying for that. We're talking right-wing militia organizations, some of whom were actually at the Capitol building on January 6th getting these loans. So here you have, it's the worst, the worst. I think it was referred to as almost the biggest corruption scandal in recent memory. We still don't know where all that paycheck protection money landed. Meanwhile, in the time we were focused on like, oh, Shake Shack got a bunch of money. Like that was nothing, right? Now we know Jared Kushner got a bunch of money. Now we know that Daniel Defense also got a bunch of money. Daniel Defense is a big name, you guys. We should remember this corporation's name, all right? Remember where you were when you found out about Robert Mercer and Rebecca Mercer, right? These sort of far right funders of like right wing causes. That kind of thing. Like remember where you were when you found out who Sheldon Adelson was. Same thing with the Daniels. It's a couple and they are big in the weapons manufacturing industry. And this is also not the first time, and this is from the same article from Sarah Lazarette in these times. The Pentagon and weapons manufacturers work together consistently, not just to directly funnel money into our Congress people or to put the pressure on them, but really in crafting legislation. So in 2005, the Republican-controlled Congress gave a big win to the gun industry when it passed the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act that protects firearm makers and dealers from nearly all liability lawsuits. We remember this. This is a year after the assault weapons ban sunsetted. The law was signed by President George W. Bush and was actively supported by the gun industry. The DOD also overtly supported that measure, arguing to the Senate that legislation would, quote, help safeguard our national security by limiting unnecessary lawsuits against an industry that plays a critical role in meeting the procurement needs of our men and women in uniform. According to the report from the New York Times, this support from the Pentagon gave a, quote, boost to the measure. So here you have the gun lobbyists are in on it. The Pentagon's like, oh yeah, we super need that to keep us safe. Our men and women in uniform, the ones who storm into supermarkets. Anyway, boop-a-doo, the one like these are the makers of things like AR-15s, things like AR-10s, and other kind of semi-automatic weapons that can shoot round after round after round after round. And so they've been working in lockstep here. And I wanted to show you, this has been fun over the weekend, I hope people got a chance to relax, but if you were paying attention to the news, you might have seen some of Daniel Defense, the gun manufacturers of that Uvalde firearm that was used in the massacre, seen things like this. This is an ad that they had. I believe this one was on Facebook, or this is their Twitter. Yeah, their verified blue check Twitter account. Good on you. Showing a very small child holding a semi-automatic weapon. I don't know exactly which one it is. It is similar, yes, to the AR-15. And they write, train up a child the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Like, I don't know the Bible. I'm not sure, like super versed. Is that, are we looking at Matthew, or is this more of an Old Testament quote here?
No, it's definitely in the commandments between, respect your parents and don't covet your neighbor's wife, and stay strapped. That's definitely in the commandments.
Train up a child in the way he should go. What does that even mean? What do those words mean together?
Oh my goodness. It's so cartoonish, and that image, it's a caricature of what these gun people like to put out there. And I think it's funny how our government can conspire to be like, what our citizens really need is for these corporations to never face any responsibilities when they have a hand in horrific, horrible events. It's not as if they make better guns because of this. This just literally just helps their bottom line. Yet, when it's time to regulate our well-regulated militia, they just can't do it. It's incredible because again, you bump up against the interests of capital.
Right.
And you can't hurt profits no matter what. Even babies, they can be used as meat shields in the name of profits. It's really quite disgusting, honestly.
And it was interesting, what was going on at the time, obviously, is the invasion of Iraq. And it's like, you wanna talk to a civilian population who would like to have a word with gun manufacturers? The Iraqis would love that. And so it's so clear that it is a way to shield, at the time, military men from being, and women, from being held accountable for civilian death or for anything that they're doing with those guns, and also to protect that corporation from the same exact thing. So there is no liability. So, forget the Hague, forget war crimes, just on a corporate responsibility or corporate liability, like that would be impossible. But then all those weapons that were used in those 2+ wars that George W. Bush started, they all came back home, right? And it is very interesting. I've been thinking about the last, my high school years and realizing I graduated before 2004. And there's a fun correlation there where when I was in school, literally never heard of a mass shooting at all. So it was before there was a assault weapons ban removal, when that was lifted. And I mean, when there was still an assault weapons ban in place is what I mean. And then now, oh yeah, there's just full immunity for these corporations. But again, these are the people we have to keep in our minds. Here's another ad, which I think is just sort of fitting since it's 3 young Black girls actually. So they're trying their hand at representation and inclusivity here. And they say, this is in 2021 of last October, Daniel Defense, 8,000 rounds of ammo, 18 DD firearms, 1 epic range weekend. The Daniel team and attendees had a blast last weekend at the IV 888888, I don't know, annual range day. What is this? And then we can go on. Here we go. Merry Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas from Daniel Defense. This is so adorable. Oh my God, it's Christmas morning. You wanna unwrap a DD5V4 AR, it's an AR-10. You wanna unwrap an AR-10. Merry Christmas from all of us at Daniel Defense. May you celebrate with your loved ones all that brings you joy, and may you not accidentally shoot them and kill them. And if you do, you've been naughty. Santa's gonna put you on his naughty list. What the? What is this? So anyway, this is the kind of crap that they are normalizing. And look, I think you can like guns. It's okay to like guns. But the amount of normalization, children with guns, unwrapping guns on Christmas, trying to make guns wholesome and cuddly has got to be the biggest gaslighting effort from the far right that I've ever seen, and from corporations. Again, we always make fun of how corporations try to get woke and down and inclusive. But then you've got these gun manufacturers also trying to be wholesome or woke or cuddly. I don't think there's anything that can make me want to cuddle with an AR-10. I don't know.
Yeah, and we actually did a story on Rebel today where this ex-Marine guy, he used to train Marines. He went on this rant about the lack of regulation. He's like, look, the greatest fighting force in the world, the United States Marines, these guys go through extensive training to become Marines in weapons training. He was like, for 2 weeks every single year, the Marines make them recertify those abilities. They have to prove to the Marine Corps again that they're still proficient in the usage of those firearms. These are Marines that every year have to spend 2 weeks proving that they're still good at guns.
Yep.
So think about that. Marines have to go through recertification every single year. That's the level of regulation we put on our killing machine, right? But yet, any hayseed in West Virginia could just buy a freaking gun and all of a sudden he's Rambo. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Honestly, like they're just, people should want to be good at handling weapons, and we should make it a requirement. Period. And I think it would be helpful. I don't think you could stop every single senseless violent crime in America because there's just too many weapons out there already, and we don't have a handle on the mental health issue in this country. We kind of leave people to their own devices. And so, yeah, I don't know that you could stop everything. But like this idea that just because we can't stop everything means that we shouldn't get, great rules and regulations on the books is absurd to me.
Agreed. You have to start somewhere. I just wanted to finalize this segment by letting you know that don't worry, Daniel's defense is putting all the money they got from the Pentagon to very, very good use. Namely, $70,000 directly to GOP candidates for federal office this election cycle. That's according to the FEC. They also gave $100,000 last year to a PAC backing incumbent Republican senators, and that's according to the Washington Post. Again, remember the Daniels. Daniel and his wife have also given thousands in recent years to candidates in Georgia, where Daniel founded the company in the year 2000, according to its website. None of the contributions have gone to Democrats. Womp, womp, womp. That's so sad. Work on that, Dems. If you're not gonna work on gun control, maybe get some of the blood money if that's how inept you're going to be. Obviously, I'm joking.